Chad, many tuned in to watch the United States women's national team in the World Cup, and the numbers reflect a larger audience than I expected for a match that I didn't know was happening until day of against Vietnam, with the promotion leading into the Women's World Cup.
Based on some people in the YouTube chat, maybe some of you turned in to hate watch the U.S. as you rooted for Vietnam, of all countries,
to
beat the U.S. women's national team on Friday night. But whatever the reason was you tuned in, over 11 million people, right around 11 million people. This is a tweet from Michael Mulvihill, who works with Fox. 11 million Americans watched all or part of the U.S.-Vietnam Women's World Cup match. This tweet was sent out Saturday afternoon, but by Saturday afternoon, this may have changed over the course of the weekend with the amount of money these two movies made. That was more people than watched Barbie and Oppenheimer combined in theaters. It was at 9.9 million at that point. More people watch U.S. women's national team. And Michael points out, and he's right, the reach of TV is still tough to beat. So that's part of it. And I also just think the whole, we're going to talk more about this, but when I watched the national anthem where everyone stood, all right, we're pointing out now who sang, who didn't, who had the hand on the chest, all that, which is just really nitpicky to me.
It's like who's singing in a congregation at church.
But I see like Julie Ertz, wife of Zach Ertz.
Yep.
And I'm thinking every single person that is saying they would root against America because, they don't like America and they don't like you and they hate us and Megan Rapinoe hates us. Fine. I don't like Megan Rapinoe either. If you want to root for Megan Rapinoe to not have a big impact on the matches, fine with that. But to root against America and to root against Julie Ertz when I'm watching her during the national anthem and how much it means is so counterintuitive to everything. The same people bitching and complaining and saying this would have said in 2016 to any Hollywood wokester or anyone else who said, I am going to leave the country because Donald Trump got elected president. I hate this country now for that reason. You would have called them a moron to root outwardly against the United States president and want to leave the country and badmouth the country. You're now doing pretty much the same thing. I hate this person's opinion, so I'm out on rooting for America. I'm out on rooting for this team. It's ridiculous. And I'm thrilled to see that over 11 million people tuned in for the match. I'll also admit I was not one of them. I did not see a second of this match on a Friday night.
But I hope
I was enjoing myself, not watching Barbie or Oppenheimer, but watching Mission Impossible a week after it came out.
They three-peat.
Yes.
I hope they representing the country that I'm proud to live in. I hope we beat their ass in the World Cup.
I would say that about a water polo team, cricket, whatever sport the United States is playing on the international stage. I'm very consistent in this approach. I will be rooting for the United States of America as an American over all of those other countries every single time, especially against Vietnam.
Well, and here's why it's just dumbfounding that you would root against the United States. This is where you can have so many different opinions on so many things. And while, there are consequences for freedom of speech in many ways, you can say anything you want. It doesn't mean you're free of consequences of that. If you're wearing the red, white, and blue, I'm rooting for you in world competition against other countries, period. I will root for the United States of America. People today are so afraid of what other people think that we will do or what people want to do, and how they'll be judged if they do it this way or that way. And that includes within your own party, within your own fan base now, your own line of work, with your friends. And I'm not going to let the banter and bitching get in the way of caring about sports, because that is the uniting aspect of both sides, not there is so much that goes on that divides. And, I ask myself, why is that? Well, the people that are complaining and in trying to, do a head count on, who's, singing and belting out the national anthem versus not, I don't know do we care about what unites us, which is this competition, which is the World Cup, which is the Olympics. Instead, it's about division. And why is it about division, Chad? It's because division creates attention. Even when those that are saying they're not going to pay attention to the World Cup, they're not rooting for they're the ones paying attention and actually keeping count of everything. I think it's dumb. So dumb.
I think it's very dumb.
And I'm not going to let those people, anyone, get in the way of how I feel about rooting for the United States or how I am as a sports fan, which is I don't care who I'm sitting next to or bellied up at the bar enjoying a game, a match, whether that's the United States, whether that's a Titans game, an NFL game, a college, whatever. And I'm not going to let some article or some public commentary because it's on one side or the other. I'm going to choose for myself. There's not enough people thinking for themselves in this. Instead, there are a lot of parrots based on whatever party affiliation deems it okay, instead of just independently thinking for yourself and having a voice and a reaction to it on your own, instead of worrying about what other people think in the moment and what will get everyone riled up. And that's what this is. Do I agree with what they stand for and what they're doing? No. But when I say they, it's not everyone on Team USA. And while I don't agree, they are representing the United States of America, period. And so I hope they do win. But it doesn't mean I have to tune in and listen and bow to everything they do when they grandstand at the ESPYs. Doesn't mean I have to do that. Also doesn't mean I want them losing to Vietnam.
Of course. Well said. And after what I said on Friday, I heard from multiple servicemen and women about it. And they just said one word, amen. People that fought for this country. Why? So at some point we could be united. And most of them said, I don't agree with almost anything Megan Rapinoe says.
Right.
But to root against the United States because you disagree with someone politically on their opinion is so counterintuitive to what we should be doing. And here's the other thing about Megan Rapinoe. She said half the things she does about any other country she was in. She would be jailed for doing what she does. That is the beauty of the United States of America. Let's never become...
And thank God she's here.
Yes, let's never become this country that we hate people on the other side so much that we are putting people in prison on opposite political parties, that someone comes to power and the other one goes to jail because of it. Let's not become that, ever. And if you hate what Megan Rapinoe says, the way you combat that is to say, I disagree with you. I don't like your stance on a lot of this, but I'm an American and you are representing the United States, and I'm going to root for America, international competition. It's very easy to not counter stupidity with stupidity. But yet we've come to a place where it's this spin cycle
required now
of moronic behavior because everyone's response is, I'm going to respond to you being an idiot by being an idiot the same way. Hey, I want Jason Aldean canceled because I don't like a song that he wrote and he performs. I think it's wrong to cancel people and silence them. But I also don't think you should buy Bud Light because I don't like their marketing decisions. So let's boycott Bud Light also on the other side of it. It's all dumb. It's all played for clicks. It's all paid to take your money in some way. Don't buy it. Just don't.
It's all built to stir up emotion.
Yes. I can't stand it. Let's let the emotion of the sport get to us. By the way, Allie in the YouTube chat says, Julie Ertz stepped away from soccer for 2 years, had a baby, and is now back killing it. That's badass. One of the many mothers on the team. When you are rooting against Megan Rapinoe and saying, I want the U.S. to lose, you're rooting against the mothers on the team. You're rooting against Julie Ertz. That is ridiculous. Because Megan Rapinoe is their teammate? Give me a break.
Well, I mean, and also, Chad, I want the best at what they do playing for our country on the national stage. It's hard to argue based on the dominance that if we're just choosing the best, we're watching the best at what they do on the pitch compete on the behalf of the United States of America. That's how I view this.
Yeah, I like good.
Yeah.
And they're good.
It doesn't mean I'm
They're very good on the world stage.
And more power to you if you want to head count and see who's singing and who's not. But, I mean, I'm also not going to tune into the ESPYs because that sucks. And, that's where I'll hear the speech that I have no interest in. Meanwhile, I can see the United States win and compete in an event that's massively tuned in for, especially on the men's side on the World Cup. How much did we prop up and discuss the World Cup on Fox all the time?
Yeah, it's a great event.
And now we get to see if this continues. They have, Netherlands, I think, coming up later this week.
Yep.
That'll be Wednesday night. We'll see the numbers there, too. And I'm sure we'll find out who was, singing along to page 34 in their hymnal and whose eyes were closed for the team prayer.
Yeah. Who had their hand properly on their heart.
Yeah.